We ready, Luca?
Just 1 second.
Okay. Okay, we are live. Tension on in here. Hello, welcome everyone to Eros Revolution with Aubrey-Ann Fuller and Maya. Oh God, I always forget how to say your middle name.
Malia.
Malia. Well, I was going to say Maya Malia, but it's
Yeah.
Maya Malia Gilbert.
Malia.
You just got Maya lore. Probably no one out there knew her middle name. Anyway, welcome. We have at least one topic for you today, if not two or three. We have some ideas for where we might go. I'm taking into account that last week when we were on the land, we ended up going off for quite a long time on one topic. And so we have kind of a wild one for you guys today. And so I remain unconvinced that we'll make it past that one, but we'll see. Okay, so you're gonna see me look to the side over here because I'm doing multiple little techie things at once. Okay, I'm gonna screen share from this computer while being on this computer. Okay, so our big topic today is honey pots.
Honey pot.
Honey pots. Do you want to say what that is? I want to hear the Maya definition.
Well, have you seen Winnie the Pooh? Honey pots are have been in the news over the last week in particular because a few articles have come out about foreign agents, specifically foreign female agents.
Russian and Chinese usually.
Yeah, usually Russian and Chinese, who a lot of the articles that have been focusing on it have been talking about how they are these women agents who saddle up to industrious gentlemen in cities of America in order to get trade secrets and various different things like that that then they can send back to the motherland. And so
And I think the term has been since like the 50s. CIA, it's like a CIA term. I'm pretty sure it's like 50s CIA term.
And so as it is so
this is a PDF of an article in the New York Post. And so the PDF is a little funny, but you can find this article in the New York Post.
So here we have China and Russia have deployed attractive women to the United States to seduce unwitting Silicon Valley tech executives as part of a sex warfare operation aimed at stealing American technology secrets, according to a report. Industry insiders told the London Times that they have been approached by would-be honeypots, some of them who've even managed to ensnare their targets by marrying them and having children. Russian and Chinese agents are also using social media startup competitions and venture capital investments to infiltrate the heart of American tech industry, the report said.
That's pretty wild. Okay, and then I have, let's see, I have a few. I think I'll do them all.
Yeah.
They're just too cute. Oh, but I'm going to share this one first. Okay, so Elon Musk tweeted this the other day. Get out of here. There we go. Can I see that? If she's a 10, you're an asset, 100. I just thought it was funny. There's been a lot of very funny social media videos. I picked two that actually I hadn't seen before today that were funny from a little bit of a different angle, but there's also been ones that are like kind of like people talking to people and being like, listen, no shame in being, like a 4 or a 5, but if you suddenly have if you like are in the government or you have like tech secrets and there's suddenly a hot 10 talking to you and being really enthusiastic about you, you might want to question that. And then it kind of, showed pictures of different like famous men and their girlfriends kind of insinuating these are honeypots. But anyway, okay, so I'm gonna do this one. Share the sound. Okay, here we go.
There, I'm sure. No secret. Tell me about I know nothing.
I'm just
Tell
a
me.
girl in the
I don't know anything.
He's staying strong.
Okay, love it. And then this one cracked me up. I was like, I think that dude had no idea what his wife was even filming for. I'm almost positive. She was like, babe, flex. And then she just made this whole video with him. I don't think he ever knew a damn thing. But anyway, I think that this opens up a whole pretty fascinating, honestly, every single time I look at these articles or look a little bit more into this topic, the more interesting it becomes from an erotic perspective. I think it's a very real thing. Like we're laughing a lot, and that may make you think we don't think it's real. Well, I don't know exactly how Maya feels about it. I'll let her speak for herself. But I definitely think it's a very real thing. I think it's been a very real thing for a long time. I think at a basic level, the conversation of like, especially when it's one thing, like the psychology of being so dedicated to living life as a spy in the first place is really interesting. And then being dedicated enough to that and connected enough on some level in your being to the importance of what you're doing that you would go in and like create a whole false narrative in order to get something for somebody. But then the ones who go beyond and they get married and have kids, that's kind of a whole other thing. I don't know what that is. That's a different situation. Like you're having your whole entire life is that. And I would think, I don't know, I imagine myself in that scenario and I think I feel like I would forget about it sometimes and I would just be living. And then it would pop back into my head and I'd be like, oh, I gotta get those secrets. Like, I don't know. I'm just like, what would that even be like? So just on a basic level, those are really, really interesting psychological conversations to me. But then there's like, how do you, like, to me, one of the things that stood out about this the most was how it's like, there's the people who do it and what would have you be able to live like that or choose to live like that. And then there's the people who are susceptible to it. And why are they so susceptible to it? And that to me speaks to a serious lack of Eros. Like there must be a serious level of starvation there, of attention from the gender of your choice that has it be that you would be able to be taken in some way by something that wasn't sincere. And this goes across the board. This is also just like anytime in a relating experience where there's something off. It might not be that they're a honeypot, but it could just be that there's something off. And that tendency to like not necessarily want to speak up in those spots or say like, wait, what was that? Or like, no, I didn't like that. Or like in an intimate experience, in a sexual experience, like not speaking up when you want something different. Like these to me are kind of iterations all across the board, all the way to the honeypot level of something is deeply seriously off in this relating. And how does someone become so susceptible to that? And I'm not going to share it right this second, but I have a sutra that I picked out about this that I feel like speaks to this. That's called The Cost of Not Developing the Sex Impulse. And it's in the sex section of volume 4. And there's some other ones. I had trouble deciding. I might take you guys to another one too, because there's another one that I feel like speaks to this as well. But I'll let you
Yeah,
go for a minute.
the thing that the whole concept of the honeypot brings up for me is that often when we talk about the crisis that we find ourselves in, and then we experience it as a lack of Eros in the culture, and a not only just a lack of it, but an active suppression of it, and an active suppression of it by the people who it would actually serve. So more than men at this point, women are doing the job of keeping Eros down. And we talk about it in all of these different angles, but there's a level of it that we believe is truly a detriment. And I think that the thing that has it feel like we're yelling into the void or something like that is I think most people through kind of numbness and blasé have a general like denigration of the erotic force and of Eros and of sexuality. They think that the fact that we're in this state is okay. And that there's this kind of like, no, no, it's okay. No, no, it's okay. The fact that this is where we are, it's okay. We can bounce back, we can manage, we can, all of these different things. And so finding things like this honeypot article point to where it's like, okay, but what about when it becomes a national security threat? What about when the fact that women here have clamped it down so much that, one just needs to find women who are willing to offer it to then get some of the nation's deepest secrets. And how effective of then the way that it said it's a sexual warfare. It's a weapon that can be used against us. And so just pointing to all of these different angles where for people to see the effects. I think that there's this feeling that Aubrey and I and a lot of us here at Eros have, which is how do we turn this tide? How do we have, firstly, women pick up the mantle of erotic power and actually reclaim sexuality and have it be something that can be the source and the life force that it's meant to be in a culture that can create inspiration and art and really innovation that brings in a whole new era. If we talk about how to build a nation, like this could be the ground of that. And that by not doing that, it could be our downfall.
You're Maya for president. You know what I'm saying? Like you got the feisty political energy lately. I'm into it. This was a friend of ours sent us this response to that article. I lost my Zoom here. There we go. Like a tweet that was in response to the article that somebody did that I also loved. Let me see. Oh, I think I didn't write. 1 second. Sorry. I don't think I clicked it. Is it that one? Oh no, that's my signal, although that might work. Will that work? Yep,
Yeah.
that works. Okay, cool. So this was whoever the heck Bennett Phylactery is. We don't know. I don't know. Well, somebody maybe knows, but once again, America has forgotten how to make things women capable of being nice and is at the mercy of foreign suppliers. We need a new Manhattan Project to reshore this capacity. Oh my God, ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, yes, that speaks exactly to what you were just saying. I think that's, yep. Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys this sutra. Okay, can you guys see that? Okay. So, like I said, this is from the sex section. of volume 4. So this one also opening to see our insecurity, uncertainty, and expectations in sex. Peep that one as well. Hannah, maybe you could throw in both of these to the chat and on socials, links to both of these, that'd be great. You do have to at least be a free member on the platform to be able to see these, but it's definitely worth it. I mean, all 4 volumes of the published sutras are on the platform now for free reading. Like, I prefer to look in a book, which you can order those online, but it's nice to be able to go to these, when I want to refer to something. But so this I feel like is foundationally why this can happen to people, and really why it actually speaks to both sides. Like, it speaks to the people who do this, and it speaks to the people who are susceptible to it happening to them in different ways. Okay, so those of us who do not develop the sex impulse experience the impotence of being locked in, a feeling of isolation, separation, and not belonging. We feel we do not truly know ourselves because we lack the power to penetrate our own minds. We feel we are not known to others as we lack the ability to skillfully and reliably penetrate the layer of self-consciousness that walls us in. So there's a little bit, like, it's more obvious how it's about the person that would be susceptible to honeypotting. There is often a sense of secrecy as if we must not reveal our innermost desires, yearnings, and hungers even to ourselves. This is, I imagine, something that the people who do this honeypot situation encounter. We navigate a world of ideas, and without any opposition to that mode of operation, the drive for ideals concretizes into control, perfectionism, and discipline, lacking in an organic joy and spontaneity. From a simple inability to assert ourselves in the world, to the inability to move people, to find our voice, to have impact, there is an underlying sense of powerlessness that can present as fear or the belief that we need to be protected, and anxiety accompanies that belief. There may be a sense that we can never get what we want. A whole variety of compensatory behaviors can then develop that may fix into an identity. The fragile or traumatized woman, the nice guy who's filled with resentment, the person who aims to accumulate powerless power through emotional blackmail. So
Say that again.
sing it.
So roll that back for a
A
second.
whole variety of compensatory behaviors can then develop that may fix into an identity. So, like, become part of it, right? Solidify an identity. The fragile or traumatized woman, the nice guy who is filled with resentment, the person who aims to accumulate powerless power through emotional blackmail. Crazy.
Break that down. Break that down, Aubrey. Aubrey, break that down here. Here, I think stop sharing and break each of those identities down, because I don't think people get how it leads to that.
Okay. So let's see. Okay, so for instance, the nice guy who's filled with resentment, right? So this is, it's like this could even be, I actually think there's a lot of people who hold power in the world, like worldly power, not like power from the inside out, not like real power, but like authority, yeah, or like, they have a job that lets them have force in the world in some way or impact, right? Even then, this type of identity can develop because however it may look on the outside, on the inside, they feel a lack of power in some way. Something that comes to mind is some crazy amount of, like, the hardcore businessmen will pay, like a dominatrix or something like that to beat them in their spare time, because they're like, they just need to feel something, And so it's like, there's a huge difference between their interior reality and how their external life looks. Their external life might be full of all these places where they have that force and that authority and that power, but inside they might actually feel quite powerless, or be like dying for a particular nutrient that they are not getting in that very dry, outwardly focused, exterior world focused life. And then I think another way that this presents a lot is like an impotency in some way with women, this was something that, I tend to work more with women throughout my time, my 17 years of being on this path and everything. But I think most of the men I've worked with have had this, it's like I have a great job and I have money and I have like all the things that I ever wanted and my family's really proud of me and everything looks great on paper from the outside, but I can't talk to a girl to save my life, or like I can't, figure out anything in succeeding with my girlfriend if our lives depended on it, please help. And you're like, oh, okay, yeah, you have everything nailed down except the one thing that would give you deep nourishment.
And I think to highlight just the modern time in our culture with this specific one is that the level of fear that men have for being erotic men in any number of ways, whether it's being a little more forward or expressing their sexuality, feeling sexual, looking at somebody who they're attracted to, any of those expressions of sexuality, coming with a certain level of fear of from a genuine place, mostly of wanting to be in connection, and if what is mirrored back to them from a lot of women is, if you do that, you're not going to get connected to me, then they pull back and they pull back and they pull back. And so then they have all of this withheld desire of their own, all of this withheld response of their own to the natural magnetism of a woman. And then a mask of niceness on top. And so a mask of, instead of a genuine kindness and a genuine niceness, it's this nice is what I know that women want for connection. And so I will present nice, but that's where the conflict of then the internal resentment comes, because it's not a genuine expression of being nice. It is a mask.
And then the most intense modern expression of this is like incel culture, which is basically like a concretized identity of I'm so fundamentally not likable to women or desirable to women that I will create like a fortress, aggressively locked down identity around like it just being hopeless for me, and then be totally cut off from the feminine in that way. And then, well, then a whole series of not great things happen after that. Okay, so there's that one. And then the fragile or traumatized woman. I mean, she's really why the men pretend to be nice instead of responsive, and so I think like it's probably useful to be said. This is a thing, I feel like people intuitively know this, but no one wants to admit that. And so it's like good to just repeat this over and over. Yes, people have traumatizing experiences. Like, yes, I have had traumatizing experiences. So has Maya. Like, it's life, right? And we're all out here having varying levels of traumatizing experiences all the time. And so it's not about questioning whether people are having really difficult, painful, horrendously challenging things like happen in their lives. It's a matter of, do you want to form an identity of a traumatized person around that you then have to kind of live from forever, or there's other ways to approach it than that. Like that is not actually what one has to do. And I just countless stories of people who went through the dregs of hell in their lives and then really did the work to go and collect all of the value and the gems and the wisdom from like digesting and integrating those experiences and then speaking on them and expressing from the hard-won resilience that they got from that. And so that's a choice. Like that's a choice to aim for that or to I consider it taking the easy way out of just letting that identity concretize and being like, I'm just traumatized. Now everyone around me, outside of me, has to adjust to, my narrow aperture setting, and I will be terrible to you if you don't, weaponizing victimhood, basically. And so that happens because sexuality and getting into direct relationship with it, whatever that looks like for you, but in an honest way, that is the way that your own soul calls for, is the way to grow into yourself, to become fortified, to become more resilient. Like you don't get a lot of those things unless you come down into the body and begin to interact with erotic energies, sexual energies directly.
Speak more on that.
This is what this whole sutra is about. This is the cost of not developing that. Like if you avoid sexuality, so I'm speaking specifically on the traumatized woman. I'll call it an archetype today, but on that one specifically, like if you don't penetrate your own kind of fear of sexuality, if you don't penetrate where you demonize it, or where you think that it's beneath you, or it's gross, or it's dirty, or it's fundamentally wrong and there's like no right way to approach it, or that, and this actually speaks to the honeypot thing, that it's like a commerce tool to be used. That's also not really it's a little bit more of a direct relationship. Like Lisa, I'm avoiding it entirely. But it's not, but that's just like taking it hostage and using it for a purpose to get something. It's like a commerce-oriented way of using it, which also doesn't get you into direct, skillful relationship with erotic energies. It's a certain type of skill. But not like a deeper
step 0 to
right
to 0.5.
Exactly. At 0.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll give it a 0.5. Like it's not even a full step. But so in refusing to develop a relationship with sexuality in some way, or like using it like that, a woman typically, I mean, this could be anybody, but this is typically a little bit more of a woman one. A woman will be far more likely to develop and keep and reinforce on the daily, like a traumatized identity. And it doesn't even have to be that the trauma was that crazy. I honestly find that the less feisty, I honestly find that sometimes like the people who go through the really, really hellish stuff are more likely to be like, I do not want to form an identity around this and do the work to integrate it, right? Versus like people who go through, who are like, I don't even know why this is the one coming to my mind, but like the videos of like the neighborhood Karens, that are like, those damn kids are always playing on my lawn and they don't respect my home, and there's like, I'm so traumatized by this. I'm having PTSD. And you're like, calm the F down, that kind of thing. So that's the traumatized woman one.
And if you haven't heard of this concept before, just one thing I think that's foundationally so helpful that I find in just reiterating over and over in erotic philosophy is that the basic premise of how people think about resilience and fragility in our culture today is to decrease the arousal in your life. And what our premise is that you actually connect it to the arousal and you connect to your sexuality and your erotic impulse, and then have that restore a fundamental heat that exists within you that could help metabolize these intense experiences and give you resilience. I mean, Aubrey and I have quite intense lives. And just yesterday, I saw a friend who I haven't seen in a few years, and they don't even know all of the details of my life, but they said the thing that I always feel whenever I'm in your presence is just how amazing of an outlook you just continue to have on life itself. And that is a direct reflection of my own relationship to my erotic force and that power that it gives me, that I can have a very intense life, a daily experience of a lot of things happening, and that I still have that feeling that any one of us knows when you're in a room with somebody and you're like, they just feel good. You know, they feel good, they uplift me, and that comes from that ability to be connected to that part of oneself, and then to continue to be able to then digest experiences and then share both the gems of that and excess and surplus. And I think that that's just a fundamental equation that the culture hasn't clicked over yet to understanding. If we engage in it, it's another thing where there's all of this malady and all of this kind of diagnosis in cultural spheres. And there's another way that would be much more beneficial and much more effective at getting us to where we want to go.
Yeah, I love that, bringing up the, I'm going to call it a fact. This is what I believe. And science is catching up to this. You know, even some of the orgasmic meditation studies and stuff are beginning to point to this. But the idea of turning up arousal to for everything. I mean, to like burn through all of the stuff that we would just get stuck in otherwise, you know, like, I mean, I think of at just such a simple level, a day where I feel upset. I'm just upset. I had a bad day before, something happened, somebody hurt my feelings, it compounded into 6 other things, you know, a work project isn't going well, plus some of the bigger, more intense things that are consistently challenging in my life right now. And I just wake up and I just feel terrible. And everything in that kind of gross feeling will tell me to like literally be stay more still in my body, maybe sleep more, hunch over my computer in some way and try to be productive, but like not, you know, but not really. And then just probably isolate from other people because I don't feel like being around people, you know, that kind of thing. And it will be very convincing that that's the solution. And then someone, let's just say it's Maya, will like sweep in to my room or my space or whatever it is and like bring some kind of like genuinely bright, buoyant energy. And I will literally be like, get that out of here. Get that sunshine out of here. But it like hits my system and has an effect of beginning to add heat. And at a basic level, arousal, like arousal is just arousal. It could be sexual, it could be like spiritual, it could be just a sense of rising heat in your body at a most basic level. And so it adds a bunch of arousal to my system. And it's too late. I can't even hold on to my like suffering because the arousal going up in my system, the heat turning on in my body a little bit more begins to have an effect on kind of burning off. It's like when the sun comes out and the fog burns off. It's like that. And so even at just those basic levels, you can see this one working in your life in a certain way. And so it's the same way with trauma. It's the same way with all of the sort of dense concentrations of pain in our lives. We want to protect them. We want to make them cordoned off and not let anybody come anywhere near them because they're so fragile and sensitive. And they are really sensitive. It is painful at first to have anything come towards them, but it's the heating up and the arousal and the actually adding heat that is the only thing that converts those densities.
I have an inspiration.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. One moment. This guy?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we're gonna play a video. That is an inspiration for my share sound. We're set up. Oh, do we have to do a,
Mhm.
okay. I turn this up?
Mhm.
Okay.
You had a
Yeah.
period where in having public conversation, you had a
Yeah.
period where you were very interested in having public conversations
Right.
about radical empathy. And
Right.
you were speaking openly and seemingly from the heart about this idea that hurt people, and that
Yeah.
you wanted to sort of look for the good in the biggest villains in society.
But I quickly learned that people don't like their hate interrupted. And I kind of knew that that wasn't the right audience for that type of conversation. Unless you want to debate
Right.
or to be hated.
Radical
People have
empathy
become
conversation.
more and more and more angry and opinionated and offended. My friend James calls them the offendocracy. People who are waiting to jump out the bushes. Ha! Caught you saying this or that. Everybody doesn't have to have the same amount of empathy at the same time. I just learned that I'm not having a conversation with friends at dinner. I know my audience, trees, birds, wind, and rain. I feel very comfortable and happy speaking my words and my truth in that direction.
Love America Badu. I just loved, Aubrey and I were watching that last night, and I loved that people don't like their hate interrupted.
Such a good
And
line.
that is just the moment and the question of what we are in right now, of how do we connect, and it's almost like she's saying she just realized it, she couldn't in a certain way, and so now she's talking to the trees. And that's how I think people feel. I mean, and she is of so much practice and influence and all of these things, and she there's a resignation that I feel in her. Also, like, how she's saying, like, I have to find my audience. And I respect that, and I agree with that. And to me, my daily question is where you feel that kind of like hate in and pain in people that they might not even think of as hate, but that their pain then comes out as hate if you interrupt it. How do we actually create those bridges in a meaningful way? I think that having this feeling, like being able to transmit a positive feeling, and that when someone comes at you with that, and that you are able to be with it and play and have a different response than they might be, they're used to throwing the punch, and then someone like taking the throwing a punch back. And instead, if you are able to just completely receive them and love them back and play and have a sense of humor and all of these different things, it's a great way to go about it. And that's I think a big question of our time is how do we connect more? You know, yeah.
Yeah, how do we connect more and not get honeypotted?
How do we connect more?
Build enough of a relationship with erotic energies that you're smart.
Because honestly, I mean, let's just be real here. Like, even in a medium good condition, like, it's just one of the whole point of it is that erotic forces are one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful forces on the planet. And we have to recognize that. And then we have to work with them accordingly. And if we have a system, and if we have a network, we often talk about it as like the mycelial network of the culture. If we have a network that is healthy and alive and full and flesh and really fecund, then people are less susceptible to that kind of starvation and then the need to have, you know, a spy be your girlfriend.
I think it also, we'll wrap up in a few minutes, but I think it also makes me think of how like, it makes me think of how women in particular are sort of honeypotting all the time, you know, like,
Speak.
right? Like not not necessarily for the Russian government, but like just for well, really for a lot of times it's like bolstering their own self-value or something like that, you know, kind of outsourcing that validation to a man, that kind of thing. But it's actually such a fundamental part of female conditioning to um, run that kind of game on men, and the biology of, you know, call and response, and the biology of like a woman's biology and the influence of that on a man's whole being really makes it, men, get yourselves hipped up. Get yourselves hipped up so that you can play back, you know what I mean? And I don't mean play back like keep like continue the drama. I mean like see that shit, penetrate it, and you know, make a play that elevates both of your consciousness, you know, that brings you both to a deeper level of liberation, that frees her from the bondage of being locked in playing games like that. You know, like this is like the level that men could elevate play to art as well, you know, because I mean, honestly, mostly women are just running circles around men and they don't ever realize it.
Amen.
And they may and making it look like they're the villain on top of that. Whoo, it's insidious. It's rough. It's rough.
Rough out here in these streets.
And on that note, we'll wrap up for today. So do you want to do a little pitch for the platform?
Yes, I would. So if you enjoy these conversations, we are hosted on the erosplatform.com. It is a home of media and talks and courses and practices that we do all to support people having more Eros in their life. We fundamentally teach a practice called orgasmic meditation, which is a 15-minute partnered practice to tap into your erotic force. And we teach that live. We also have it available as an app that you can learn anytime. And so all of that is available on erosplatform.com. And also just to let everyone know as well, we have a very, very amazing, immersive program coming up that will be a 10-month program next year. 8-month program next year. You never know.
Fair point.
And it's really designed for people who want to be this next generation, really of the Eros Revolution, and people who want to, from the inside out, understand their own relationship to Eros and how to bring it out into the world in this time that is so needed in whatever way that that looks for you. And so connecting to oneself and then to bring it out in the world. And it's once a month in-person immersive retreat that then will last for 8 months, ongoing on all different topics in the realm of Eros.
Yeah, nice. Excellent. All right, you guys, we will see you next week for Eros Revolution. Thank you for coming today, and goodbye.